Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today's video, it's another FPL video, and it is one that is pretty easy to discuss. We are recapping obviously before the international break, or the start of the international break, last week's performance in game week 4. We're going to look forward to game week 5 and give you guys a couple of options for what I'm originally thinking for my transfers. I've got 2 free transfers, I'm ready to go. But if you enjoy this content, give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know how you went with your points down in the comment section below. And did you get on board with me with Cameron Archer last week? There wasn't many people in the world that did. I think most people that got him in didn't start him. We're very, very happy that the punt that we discussed in the last episode definitely paid off. Have a look at the points. Look, I'm going to discuss, Pickford. The back three doesn't need to really be discussed, and then I'll discuss a couple of the options in the middle of the park. I think with the Pickford one, you're just unlucky. You also don't think Turner's going to keep a clean sheet against Chelsea, and he never probably should have. But that's the beauty of Premier League and trying to predict fantasy goalkeeping points. Pickford had a blinder and played outrageous, but gets unlucky with an own goal. You can't do much about that. Gets 6 saves for a point. Which I think from where he was is a very good return because it could have been negatives. You can see why you picked him in this game because of the saves that he makes, and he is a very good keeper. Just the amount of chances Everton allow on goal and from goal scoring, proper goal scoring opportunities is ridiculous. With Burnley, when Pope was there, a lot of Burnley's defending was from shots, outside the box and being quite compact. Nothing from, in and around the front of the penalty spot, 6 yard right in front of goal. It's all from an angle. And for a keeper that can narrow their angles and is a good shot stopper, lots of saves, clean sheets and points. That's why Pope got that. That's why we all pick Pickford. Am I sticking with him? He's one of the options I may transfer out next week, but we'll discuss that in just a second. Back three, it is what it is. Chilwell and Colwill, obviously for a score on the break. This worked for us last week in game week 3, where they both got a clean sheet. This week, not so much. It is what it is. Stupian, someone that we might also sell as well to fund some funds to get to a couple more options. But at the same time as well, it all depends on the other transfers we make. There is a world where I'll keep a stupid all the way through to a wild card. And at the moment, my wild card is either game week 9 or game week 19 or 18. That is correct. If I don't pull it in game week 9 and I pull it in game week 18 or 19, we're going to be with this team for a long while and a stupid might stay. All right, let's discuss the midfield because there's actually a lot to discuss in the midfield before I get on to my boy Cameron Archer. Maddison, tick, goal, looked involved. Obviously, if Son's playing through the 9, that makes Maddison better, I feel, as well. But Heung-min Son might be an option moving forward. Definitely want to keep an eye out. Bruno's Bruno. I haven't watched the United game yet. It's actually on my agenda to do whilst I get ready for work this morning. I wanted to get this video out first. I would imagine they played okay. Same with Saka. Can't really comment too much on it without watching it. Beautiful time zones here in Australia. I had to be asleep at some point after the Liverpool game. Mbeumo, great goal, great turn, is obviously the talisman. This is why we pick Mbeumo, is because we know that he's going to be very central to what Brentford do. When Brentford play against the weaker times, he plays out on the right and he still looks decent and involved. And when they play against harder teams and he plays up front as the 2, he looks fantastic. So Mbeumo's someone that I think we're just going to pick, hold, and off we go. Saka's Saka. But Mohamed Salah, he always finds a way to get points. He got 3 returns of 5 points previously, a penalty miss which robbed him of a few other points if he just converted the penalty instead of the rebound. And then obviously got his goal, looked pretty good, should have had an assist. Darwin Núñez with the weirdest header you're ever going to try and see. If he just did a normal diving header, he has a goal and assist, Salah, and Martinez made a fantastic save to deny him a goal as well. He could have been an enormous haul for Salah. I've always said that he's the asset that I would sell to downgrade to fund the other positions to make my team more well-rounded. And it is scary going in with a team like this and you see everyone else with Sterling and Jackson and, you name it, the Udoji and all them, right? And you're going, if they all pop off, we're in trouble. But as it went, having Cameron Archer and Mohamed Salah definitely paid off this week. Now, Haaland's Haaland. If you didn't captain Haaland, which one of the guys in my paid fantasy head-to-head league didn't do, Captain Rodri of all people. Just Captain Haaland against good fixtures. Don't bet against him in bad ones. But let's talk about Cameron Archer. We brought him in because, well, look, I play Football Manager and I know the guy's good on FM. The guy had a really good year in the Championship last year. And as soon as I saw Sheffield gave him the 10, I was like, yep, you are nailed. And for me, if you nailed playing against Everton, I will start you because Everton are pretty woeful. Unlucky not to have 2 goals. Obviously, the own goal for Pickford, he gets the assist. But if that bends half a yard more, Pickford's beat and it's 2 goals. And I really do think Archer could be on penalties for Sheffield as well. There is murmurs that is the case. I don't know if that's going to be what it is, but it is, something to look at down the line. He's definitely not someone I'm planning on starting every week, and it's the main reason why I'm planning on using 2 of my free transfers after the international break is done, is mainly so Archer can be on my bench. Yes, there's going to be times where this happens and you're going to be kicking a fuss, but there's also going to be times in the future where Archer is going to definitely play for me. So straight away, Fulham in game week 8, he'll be on my team. Wolves, Bournemouth and Burnley and Luton in game week 19, he'll be there as well. And in all those games, I think Archer's worth the punt of being in your starting 11 because if he plays and he's so central to how Sheffield are going to play, he's going to be the talisman and get you goals. So that leaves me with a game week rank of 80, latest points of 87, game week rank in the 956. It moves my overall rank into the top 46k, or the top 47k. I'm about 46k in the world. Very, very, very good start. And that means in all my head-to-heads and stuff, I am pretty much around the top. There's a couple guys ahead of me. There's actually a guy in one of my paid head-to-head classic leagues here that actually triple captain Haaland this week. Kudos to you, mate. You did very, very, very well. And I won all my head-to-heads. I think it's in this head-to-head. I won by a point. There we go. I'll beat a guy like this by a point. Unfortunate bloke. But yeah, obviously Diaz versus Salah was the main thing, and Jackson versus Archer. Very good team, though, to that guy there. But yes, look, we got through. Now, that's what the team looks like. On paper, before we make a transfer, I've got 2 free transfers. This is how we'll be lining up. It would be Turner against Burnley. After keeping clean sheet, I don't think Turner's going to get dropped just yet. So I'm going to go with Turner. If it isn't Turner, look, Pickford's going to come in probably for a 1-pointer against Arsenal, so be it. Obviously going to go double Chelsea defence against Bournemouth, but I think Bournemouth will score. So, a Stupian against Man United. This is why I want to make some transfers, because I might need to make a defending transfer. Botman's not fit, so I can't play him. Obviously, Maddison nailed. Bruno against Brighton, who've been leaking goals, nailed. And Mbeumo nailed. Saka against Everton, nailed. Wolves against Salah should be nailed, right? If you look at that 4-5 there, that's what we want. And then you got Haaland, and you got Archer, and you got Pedro on the bench, and you got Botman, and you got Bulldog, and you got Pickford. So, straight away, when you look at this team, if that was my team going the next game week, I would be comfortable. I could expect 2 clean sheets, maybe from Chelsea, probably not. Could almost expect a return in every one of those fixtures, maybe apart from Mbeumo going forward from the midfield. We're probably captaining Haaland. In saying that, with how West Ham are defending, I might go and captain Maddison against Sheffield, or captain Salah. There is options there. And then Cameron Archer, we don't want to start. So, there's 2 options here. We either, with this team now in Fantasy Football Hub, we either A, drop Salah, who's played every game week, right, and move him to someone. Now, I would say it's normally Sterling. My issue is that Sterling and Chelsea looked last game week, right? I could go to Son, but I do think that is, especially when it goes Sheffield, Arsenal, Liverpool. Yes, the fixtures past that are pretty good, but my only issue with doing that is like, you're getting him in for 1 game week, and then against Liverpool and Arsenal, who he probably gets a sniff with Ange, is, I don't know, right? And unfortunately for us, Brennan Johnson has not started, so we don't know about him. So let's say, for instance, we went to Sterling, right? Because I think he's the best of the bunch, and after that becomes Diaby. That gives me 5.8 mil in the bank to get one of these guys up, and then you could get Joe Pedro, right, up to Isaac, for instance, right? Because I wouldn't go to Jackson now. I think Bournemouth, Villa, Fulham is fine, but you may as well get Isaac in for Brentford, Sheffield, Burnley, etc. Right? And that means that we could do that. It means Isaac could start over Archer, right? And straight away, if you look at that team on paper, I know we sold Salah, right? But at least that way you've got Sterling and Isaac, and you gives you 2 free transfers. You've got a very good set of fixtures for your midfield 5. You've got 2 fixtures for your strikers that they should score in. Yes, Isaac plays generally only 60 minutes then for Wilson. Only probably don't go for Wilson is he's probably off the bench, and Cameron Archer will be your first sub against Spurs. I don't think that's the worst, right? You then move into game week 6, right? And straight away my plan would be Bulldog with the money in the bank, right? To Trippier, right? Because when you have a look at the fixtures, Sheffield, Burnley, West Ham, you would expect a couple clean sheets from a Newcastle side that hasn't looked good so far but would improve. My issue with this is that from what we've seen in Newcastle, they're going to look like a team, unlike last year, that were very impenetrable defensively, to a team that is not doing the business. So if you look at the next 2 game weeks, and then I would obviously roll in game week 7 if I was to optimize it, and then in game week 8 would have 2 free transfers. It's not the worst position to be in, but you're selling an asset in Salah that has been returning in every game. So if I was to, reset my team, and I was to do this and just import the team again, once it loads, right, with 0.5 mil in the bank, optimize it because why not? It's going to make me do this, sure. Sure. Oh my god. That's not a bridge. Right. Go to optimize my team again. If I wasn't to sell Salah with 0.5 mil in the bank, how do we get money into this team and get guys that start? So straight away you're looking for some options, right? And look, Semenyo is someone that maybe is an option, right? For 4.5 mil, they go Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal. It's not the greatest time to bring him in. So then you're looking at, well, can I get Pedro up to a 6 mil striker? There isn't really many around, for 6 mil, unfortunately. For 6 mil in the bank, if you're looking at strikers, it's better at Everton, leaving you no money in the bank, or it's Ferguson at Brighton, who just scored a hat-trick and is about to play Man United. I don't like any of them. He probably starts and probably scores, but I don't like any of them, and that leaves you no money in the bank as well. So I'm leaning towards selling Salah to fund options. I don't like selling Salah because I think he's a very good differential someone to own. And there's no one else I really want to drop out of this team. I think the only other move that you could make is if you go to Diaby, right? Is get Diaby in and drop Bruno, but I don't want to do that because his fixtures look good, and drop Saka, which is a brave move to do, and there you are. The last thing I could do is maybe get a Stupian down to a Udoji to keep Salah. Udoji comes in, you get another 0.5 mil in the bank, you sell Pedro out, and you can get to a 6.5 mil, maybe like a Whistler or something. Like if you do this, and go to Udoji, and then you go Pedro, and then you get 6 more mil, and you go into Whistler, who's 6.2. I think something like that's not the worst if I went to that. My forwards. Alright. And if we went by 4-week game week potential, can't get a Solanke. Edouard gives you still money in the bank. Ferguson I wouldn't touch. Wouldn't go to Raul Jimenez. It's probably Wissa. And then with that gives me 0.2 in the bank. It allows me to start Wissa. And they have a very good set of fixtures. But my worry is now is that my only Newcastle asset moving forward is Botman. So those are my 2 plans. Sell Salah, bring in Sterling, might not even be selling, it could be even Son, right? And then allow myself to go from Pedro up to an Isak or something, and then get Trippier a week after. Or it's 2-3 chances to go Stupian to Udoji, and then Pedro out to Wissa. That way there I can still keep Salah, still have Bruno, still have Haaland, still have Maddison, still have Saka, still have Mbeumo, still have Colwell and Chilwell to target. Only problem is moving forward is maybe defensively we're a little bit thin because you've got Bulldog still on the bench, only got 0.2 in the bank. I'm really leaning towards selling Salah, but I don't particularly like it. If I was to sell Salah, I'd probably go to game week 19 or game week 9. Now, the main reason you might be thinking, why would you be looking at game week 9, game week 19, is if I sell Salah, you're selling him for Wolves, West Ham, Spurs, and Brighton. These are goal-scoring things. And then against Everton in game week 9, where you pull your wild card, I would captain him, and I'll captain him against Everton, Forest, and Luton. That is correct. I'm planning that if I was a wild card in game week 9, or if I still own Salah by game week 9, I would probably wild card, or I would captain him in those 3 game weeks, because as much as we love Haaland, and Haaland is someone who I don't recommend to captain against, in game weeks 9, he's got Brighton, Man United, Bournemouth. Don't get me wrong, they're great fixtures, but I would back Salah to get some returns in those 3 game weeks. Bournemouth maybe being the sketchy one, because Bournemouth at home against Erling Haaland, but Luton, and I think Salah would run rings around Luton. So, look, at the moment, there's some plans there. We had a good game week, got 87 points. I could move to 2 4.5 mil strikers and, try and get money that way and fixture swings and stuff like that, but it means I need another playing defender to put on the team. I could move Stupian and Pedro out for Udoji and Wissa, or the option I'm leaning towards is selling Salah, which is dirty, going to Sterling, which I don't particularly like because I don't think he's been great. That funds me enough to go up to Isaac, which I think is a better move, which means we can bench Archer and then eventually move Bulldog up to Trippier with money in the bank, having a more balanced team and a team that probably I can attack till game week 9 to go, here you go, then wildcard, or a team that maybe we don't get Salah back, but it is what it is. With that being said, let me know what you would do. I don't know what to do with this boy Mohamed Salah. I don't know if we're going to keep him. It might be the case that Bruno and maybe Saka go to 2 6.5s, and then you got money that way. I don't want to do it for Bruno because Bruno's Bruno. I think Bruno's fantastic. Like, are you really selling Bruno before these fixtures? Brighton, who are leaky, Burnley, Palace, Brentford and Sheffield? No. You're really selling Saka before he plays Everton, Spurs, Bournemouth? Probably not. You sell him here? Yeah. Really, really interesting time with the fixtures and who you sell. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you and goodbye.